fellow Nigerians, something revolutionary is about to happen in Nigeria, and Nigerians must allow it to happen because it is legal and it is non-violent. There comes a time in the life of a people that they must decide to stand up and declare a state of emergency for the well-being of their country. We must refuse to allow ourselves to be the sheep that is continually led to the slaughter. The time has come for us to save our necks. Nigeria is currently surviving on a life support machine, and in our very eyes, our national oxygen is drying up fast, and we are collectively being led into a Venezuela. There is no better time for us to shout than now. We must force it to happen now, or forever remain a mockery of the world with all our huge natural resources and endowment. Point number one. Now, the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, has informed us that Nigeria will borrow to fund its 8.83 trillion naira budget of 2019. And from the amount that will be borrowed, 2.14 trillion, which is about a quarter of the budget, will be used in paying part of the previous debt. Nigeria under Buhari is already owing 22.4 trillion naira. Remember that 410 billion naira was also borrowed to finance the 2018 budget. Since they were borrowing, since they've been borrowing, even when we're not borrowing, what have we seen on ground to show that there is development in our country? Nothing. Our countries, our current debt, and what they will borrow and borrow again, may take 40 years to pay as a country. It means that an adult that is 18 years now will be 78 years before Nigeria will gain economic independence. Remember that the lifespan of a Nigerian living in Nigeria is 55 years. So how many people can live to see the economic freedom of Nigeria? Our youths have no tomorrow because today's politicians have spent their future. Does the continuing borrowing mean that suddenly, even with the billions and billions we read and hear about, no money is accruing from NNPC, Customs, NPA, EFCC and others? State governors are equally borrowing and handing over depleted accounts to their successors. Meanwhile, federal legislators who earn more than the president of the countries where we wish to borrow from will also benefit from these loans. Do we still wonder why Nigeria was recently judged as the 6th most miserable country in the world? We have professors of economics in Nigeria. Please tell us, which economic theory states that a country will prosper or develop when it borrows to fund its entire budget and pay illegal salaries to its uncaring, plutocratic and autocratic politicians? Our problem is not whether Buhari is sworn in as president or whether Atiku wins the election in the tribunal. No, that is not our problem now. Our problem is that our country is bleeding to death in the hands of a poto-poto government. We shall all fail together unless we stand together to dry up their poto-poto agenda. As a country, it is not our priority now that a president must be sworn in by May 29th. It is not enough to say, oh, the election has come and gone, let us move on. Move on to where? Since we have been ignoring rigged elections in Nigeria and moving on, where has it taken us? Where? Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello, Anthony Enahoro, Herbert Macaulay, Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, Tafawa Balewa, they did not fight for our political and economic independence for us to watch the Buharis and his cohorts of today reverse our collective destiny into recolonization and economic slavery by mortgaging our country into the hands of World Bank, IMF, and ready Chinese lenders and their predatory loan practices and debt trap diplomacy. In 2017, Sri Lanka was forced to hand over a port to China after falling into debt trap. because of their inability to pay $1 billion loan. Djibouti, Kyrgyzstan, Laos, the Maldives, Mongolia, Montenegro, Pakistan, Tajikistan, they are all dying under Chinese loans now. This will become worse for Nigeria because those in office usually loot what is borrowed with their private bullion vans. This Nigeria does not belong to a few persons just because they have power to control the soldiers and the police. China wrote off some debt owned by Tajikistan in exchange for some 1,158 square kilometers of their land. Zambia government is handing over the country's national electricity company ZESCO to the Chinese because of their inability to pay Chinese debt. China has already taken over Zambia's broadcasting company. ZNBC and their Lusaka airport is gone. Kenya is shivering presently because 72% of its 50 billion debt is from China. Nigeria is already owing China over $5 billion and more are in negotiations as we are getting set to ask for loans from all countries on earth. Then the Murtala Mohammed Airport will be seized by our lenders. Our refineries will go to them. Our oil blocks will be allocated to them to pay our loans. Some of our federal universities, they will go. They will also take control of our major highways, build toll gates, and tax every Nigerian to pay for using the roads on our lands. They will seize our land because of debt. Sadly, those that are rushing to borrow today might have died and buried before the real suffering will begin. They will not be part of the suffering, but their children will still be living luxurious lives because they will inherit what their parents looted from us. Remember that apart from fighting for our independence, one factor that made Abat Macaulay a respected Nigerian hero was that he fought for the preservation of our land. This land that will be seized very soon. You know, in 1919, Abat Macaulay argued successfully on behalf of Nigerian chiefs before the Privy Council in London because colonial Britain seized the lands of the chiefs. He won and the chiefs were compensated. Those are the same lands that Buhari's government will make us to surrender to our debtors. Long before today's APC and PDP and the other parties we are seeing now, the same Macaulay formed the first Nigerian political party, the Nigerian National Democratic Party, NNDP, in June 1923. The party that charted a path for a free Nigeria. Now look at the disastrous political parties we have in Nigeria today. We must refuse to trade our liberty. We must refuse to mortgage the destiny of our children. We must refuse to be silent. Why do we desperately seek political offices when we do not have the managerial acumen to break the yoke of poverty in the lives of our citizens? Must everybody be president of Nigeria? The Abat Macauleys did not kill. They did not kill us to get into political offices. Point number 2, we must challenge the federal government of Nigeria to publish the list of every Nigerian that was killed during the shameful 2019 elections. The so-called presidential election was the second Buhari's coup against unarmed Nigerians. Those that were killed were us and remain us. Families are still grieving, and we must not forget them too quickly by saying that we must move on, that the elections are over. No! We must refuse to imbibe this barbaric culture where Nigerians are being killed and the rest of us are marching on as if nothing serious happened. No! They killed yesterday and we briefly mourned and forgot our compatriots. Today they kill and we forget those that were killed yesterday, because we know that those that are killed today will be forgotten tomorrow when more will be killed? Are you quiet because they have not killed your brother, sister, father, or mother? Is it because they have not burnt your family houses? Have you imagined what it is to live without a land? We are being killed while those in government are busy pocketing security votes and moving around with police escorts. Do you know the pain going on in bereaved families with breadwinners gone because of the sham 2019 election? You want us to move on to where? Nigerian politicians feel that as days go by, we shall quickly forget and get used to our pains. They want our pains to be traditional. They have concluded that the rest of us are stupid and will always be weak to take action. Families are massacred and are never remembered or compensated because the rest of us have joined government to show no concern. No! We challenge the Nigerian government to publish a comprehensive list of our compatriots that were killed in and after the last coup against unarmed Nigerians in the name of elections. The government now refused to release dead bodies to their families so that the actual number of those killed cannot be counted. Therefore, they bury them in mass graves. Open the mass graves and let us identify our brothers, our sisters, innocent children slaughtered, fathers and mothers dismembered and lumped together from different families before they were buried with strangers against the wishes of their families. If we must be brutally killed, do we not deserve befitting graves also? Don't we deserve graves? Nigeria has never been this bad. Those that were killed, they were us. And they remain us. We cannot shy away from that fact. So are Nigerians waiting to swear in a president in the month of May when our roof is on fire? Is the Nigerian Bar Association waiting to swear in Buhari and observe May 1st as Workers' Day when law and order has totally broken down in our country? Do Nigerian lawyers react only when a Chief Justice of Nigeria is suspended from office? Point number 3. 30,000 naira has been approved as minimum wage for workers, but VAT will be increased so that the same workers will fund their increase in wages. Is this the nonsense that the Nigerian Labour Congress is set to tolerate? Is the Nigerian Labour Congress planning to march on with the first day of May as Workers' Day, carry banners and wave green, white, green flags under the sun, when they should be patriotically declaring a second Nigerian independence from those that have held our country hostage? You work for 35 years, die under the sun in hunger, waiting for your pension, but you allow a governor and his deputy who served for just 4 or 8 years to receive millions of naira monthly as pension for life after looting their respective states. Ex-governors that looted Delta State receive 4.2 million naira monthly for life for being ex-governors. In Kano, Akwa Ibom, Lagos, and others, ex-governors receive 100% of annual basic salary of the incumbent governor and deputy. Are we joking in Nigeria? And this is excluding the lump sum of billions paid to them when they leave office. Many of them transformed to be senators, where they earn even more than any president on planet Earth. The monthly pension for the ex-governors and their deputies excludes allowances for exotic transportation mounted with sirens and security agents, huge medical care, vacation, home and abroad, furniture allowances, lavish non-stop entertainment, domestic staff, car maintenance, allowances and so forth. It excludes the choice houses they will get in the state capital and Abuja. Even Rochas Okorocha of Imo State will receive these too. As governors and their deputies become state liabilities for life. They forced their respective House of Assemblies to adopt such anti-people laws that benefit them selfishly for life. You see why 100 million Nigerians are living in extreme poverty? You see why? A governor leaves office, and you know that the governor came into power with just one jeep. Now he has 20 jeep, and you have many civil society organizations, you have youth groups. What do? You collectively write petitions to EFCC about the ex-governor. Let them know the source of his income. If you don't do that, that is the result of our poverty. Our silence is killing us as a people. When will Nigerian workers stop being the monkey that walks for the bamboos to chop? You see why they kill us desperately? Because they are desperate to get into public office. The 30,000 naira minimum wage in Nigerian Labour Congress is fighting for is what they pay children in European countries monthly, just because they are children, for doing nothing. It is simply based on the principle of equitable distribution of the national wealth of their countries. The unemployed equally receive salaries here. Countries poorer than Nigeria. We're not talking about the obnoxious trader money that APC and Vice President Osibanjo were hawking and used in insulting and mocking our market men and women during the presidential election campaign, which they quickly suspended after the election. We're talking about steady, non-refundable monthly income for the underprivileged in developed countries. And most of these so-called developed countries are not as rich as Nigeria. Show me a country as blessed, and I will show you Nigeria. No. And you are preparing to observe May 1st as Workers' Day instead of a day for the formal declaration of national emergency. We could never have imagined in our entire life that our country, Nigeria, will fall this low. Never. The first independence of Nigeria expired in 1999, when all we got as leaders or looters or leaders are looters of national treasury, certificate forgers, cultists, sponsors of cultism, election riggers, tribalists, and rulers soaked deep in the blood of nepotism and greed. Rulers that cannot even recite our national anthem. Is the Nigerian Labour Congress and the civil society organizations and all Nigerians waiting for this government to borrow and use it to pay our looters? Leaders that are looting and fighting corruption at the same time? If Nigeria was a man born in 1960 and his blood was made of naira and kobo, by now he would have long bled to death. Yes. We must arise now and demand for a second Nigerian independence. In the 35 countries where we currently have our chapters talking about the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, we are anxiously waiting for you to come and beg for loan after mismanaging and destroying our economy. We shall embarrass you, we shall embarrass the hell out of you if you come to any country where we have a chapter. You turned our youth to be armed robbers, kidnappers, political thugs, and ritualists. But you come to countries that protect their children, women and youths to borrow money. Countries that are smaller than Lagos. Just Google the 2017 news of Nigerians in Hungary reject and protest 54 million euro loan from Hungary to Nigeria, and you'll understand better. Point number 4, Nigerian students. You were forced to stay at home throughout the election period. Your mates, children of politicians with whom you started school the same year, have graduated abroad and they are flying home for national youth service. What will economically affect Nigerian students very soon will be worse than ASUU strikes. But be very sure that more ASUU strikes are on their way if we must borrow to fund our education. Some of your universities will be used in paying the loans. Did you not see your mates being exported from Edo to Akwa Ibom State to rig elections? disrupt elections by the same politicians you respect and you call excellencies and honorables? Did you not see them? Has any of you asked questions why all the persons involved were secretly released from police custody? Did the Nigerian media publish their release? No. How do you think? Now, point number 5. How do you think you could achieve freedom of the press when the Nigerian press keep mute when one of them is arrested, released, and arrested again? Is the Nigerian media planning to celebrate May 1st as Workers' Day when it should be joining in the declaration of our second independence from the hands of today's dictators? Ask yourself, why the international media are not reporting the many killings going on in Nigeria today? They have been allegedly paid to be silent. Ask yourself why other presidents no longer send sympathy messages to President Buhari whenever Nigerians are massacred from Benue to Plateau, Kaduna to Adamawa, Yobe, Sokoto, Zamfara, and other states. They know that our president does not care. They know that our president does not have the capacity to address the situation. They know that Nigerians have accepted it as a culture to be slaughtered and buried in mass graves. In all the killings of civilians and soldiers, have you seen Buhari attending one funeral service? One. No. On the day they buried many of our gallant soldiers who were massacred in Borno State by Boko Haram, Buhari was busy hosting Nollywood in Abuja because it was campaign season. There is orchestrated genocide going on in Nigeria, and coupled with the hunger that is to come, you will soon understand the true meaning of next level. We must not wait for that to happen. No. For years, pension soldiers have been living in dump sites in Abuja waiting for their pension. We have seen soldiers pushing armored vehicles in Borno State because the engine could not start. So our soldiers have no money to be funded. Where is the money? If you are a soldier or you are a police officer and you are killing innocent Nigerians today because you are putting on uniforms and you are carrying guns, I tell you this, when you retire from office, that is if you live till then, you will know that you need civilians, either as a person or in your family. Today, soldiers, customs officers, police officers, SARS, gunmen, Boko Haram, herdsmen, they kill Nigerians like it's not a tradition, it's not a custom, and nothing is happening. Does it mean that the military and police intelligence is weak? They are not proactive to know what is about to come or what is about to happen, and things just happen and you don't even get the killers to be arrested? Instead of getting information from captured or surrendered Boko Haram members, our government is integrating them back into the society and doing nothing about herdsmen killing. How can you declare Boko Haram as a terrorist group, but you arrest some of them or some of them surrender to you and you do nothing about it? They take Nigerians, even herdsmen take Nigerians, cut their throats with knives, and nothing happens. Yet you declared unarmed IPOB members as terrorists. What a shame. IPOB is not a terrorist group. Of course, the Nigerian government declared IPOB as a terrorist group just to calm the situation or the circumstances or the conditions happening in Nigeria at that time. Okay, now the situation is calm. So what do? You have to unban IPOB. IPOB is not a terrorist group. The Nigerian government must declare herdsmen as terrorist group. No alternative to that. We cannot be deceived. A president that knows his onion will employ drones to survey our borders. Border surveillance. You can use drones. You can employ concerted diplomacy by inviting the international community, and you could blast Boko Haram to dust within a week. If you are serious, you'll be going to Switzerland to borrow money from the World Bank. Switzerland has a population of 8.5 million people. If those people are killed, the rate at which Nigerians are being killed now, their population would have gone into extinction by now. And there would have been no World Bank there to borrow from. Point number 6. Why must we continue to run our country on an expired constitution that needs urgent review? The current Nigerian constitution has expired. Why is the government silent when the majority of us are demanding for the restructuring of the country? We must stop acting as if our voices does not count, and we never count in Nigeria. Stop asking, now what we go do now? It is in your hands. It is in your hands. It is in your hands to declare a state of emergency in Nigeria now. It's in your hands. Stop saying, what we go do now? It's first day of May, not a better day to be free, so that the labor of our heroes past should not be in vain. Freedom is not an orange that must fall on its own because it is ripe. You force freedom to fall. And this is the time. Because tomorrow is not a promise. Tomorrow is not a promise. And there must be a conscience to break the chain. We must not be talking about 1st May, Workers' Day, and May 29th for swearing in of a president when our country is bleeding to death because a tiny cabal see us as puppets that must be manipulated by day and by night. They see us as slaves that have no choice. I refuse to be a slave. If you are not a slave, you must begin to shout no. You must not stop shouting no. Keep shouting no. Then we must go ahead and act no. As we are talking now, legislators, federal legislators, state legislators, they are now planning amongst themselves who will be the speaker. They are now dividing, sharing among themselves who will be members of juicy committees. Because that is the language they use, juicy. That is where they get bribes. That is where they get money. That is where they get kickbacks. But do you know that not too long ago, the customs office condemned some chickens and buried the chickens. Chickens that when you eat them, they could cause epidemics. But Nigerians, hungry Nigerians went there to dig up these chickens. And they were rushed, taking them home, struggling for dead, condemned chicken to eat. Our country has gone that bad. Did you not hear about a couple that sold their child in Port Harcourt to get money to pay their rent and to survive? This is not the Nigeria of our dream. At the end of this message, at the comment section, we shall add the link to the video where Nigerians were struggling to uproot condemned chicken that were buried. My people, if you are IPOB, Oduduwa, Arewa, Niger Delta, your freedom will not come when you decide to fight alone. Innocent ones will die as they died before, and many will be arrested or declared wanted. Nigeria belongs to each and every one of us. If we fight collectively, we can set Nigeria free and enjoy our God-given resources. The problem is not you. The problem is not me. The problem is not us. The problem is they. They are the ones that brought Nigeria this low. They that consciously brought our country to the position that it is now. They are few. We did not escort anybody to Nigeria. Enough of saying, I am loyal to your oppressors. I am loyal is the language of an idiot that is in love with his or our oppressors. Break the chain of slavish loyalty now. There is no better time to act as a people than now. Something new is about to happen in Nigeria. Something revolutionary is about to happen in Nigeria. And Nigerians must allow it to happen because it is legal and it is non-violent. In the words of Ursula Guin, you cannot buy the revolution. You cannot make the revolution. But you can only be the revolution. It is in your spirit or it is nowhere. Therefore, the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria respectfully ask that whether you are IPOB, Arewa, Oduduwa, Niger Delta, Middle Belton, from the north, south, east or west, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Jew, pagan, atheist, traditionalist, the time has come for us to rise up together and finally choose a day for us to be free as a people with a commonwealth. Politicians have put a sharp knife on the things that hold us together, but we must break their knife and their yoke. Our strength lies in those things that divide us. Until we rise up as a people and speak with one voice, we shall get nowhere. Until we rise up and begin to speak for ourselves and support each other, Nigerian politicians will continue to speak and act against us. We are too rich to be this poor. We are too blessed to be cursed with bad leaders. We are too blessed to be cursed with poto-poto governance. We must rise up, stand on a common platform, speak with one voice, act in one direction, and collectively say no to the forces of darkness that have held us down for too long. It will be our collective shame if we bequeath today's sorry Nigeria to our children and unborn generation. For how long must less than 10,000 people oppress the 200 million of us? For how long? Think, is today's Nigeria the dream of our heroes past? Something revolutionary is about to happen in Nigeria, and Nigerians must allow it to happen. It is legal and it is non-violent. Africa is waiting for us to act because they know that their freedom depends and relates to our freedom. We must face the evil Nigerian politicians. They are not just greedy, they are wicked. So wicked that they killed us to get into their evil offices. Little wonder Rotimi Amechi said that there is bad governance in Nigeria because we, the people, have refused to stone them. But ladies and gentlemen, fellow Nigerians, we shall not stone anybody. We don't preach violence. But today we are going to start, and we want you to understand there is something we call revolution without ammunition. We stand on that political ideology. We preach creative militancy. Nobody must be killed in what is about to happen in Nigeria. No bullet will be released and no houses will be burnt because politicians have killed us long enough. We shall not burn tires on our streets, and we must not loot our neighbors' properties. No bullet was released before the wall of Jericho fell down flat. Together, we must be ready to shout a loud no. Stop praying and fasting when your prayers have long been answered. The chain fell from Zimbabwe in 2017 because soldiers refused to be bribed or intimidated, and collectively they joined their people and they shouted no. The chain fell from Nelson Mandela after 27 years in prison because will was stronger than chain. Paul and Silas, the chain broke from them because they knew that there was a time to pray and a time to walk into their freedom. The chain fell in 2017 from Gambia when Yahya Jammeh was disgraced out of office after 27 years of poto-poto governance because Gambians and their soldiers shouted no. Any soldier that denies the freedom of his people will forever remain a slave of the gun. In 2010, the chain fell in Tunisia at the birth of the Arab Spring, which ended a dictatorship of 23 years because with one voice, Tunisians shouted no, and their police and soldiers joined the People's Revolution to shout no. In 1979, the People's Revolution broke the chain in Iran because the people agreed and they shouted together with one voice, no. The People Power Revolution of the Philippines broke their chains in 1986. People Power removed Jacob Zuma from office in 2018 because South Africans collectively shouted no. What this country suffered is less than 1/10 of what we have endured and tolerated as Nigerians since 1960, because we have been hoping against hope that things will change for good. Now you can see that they have completely destroyed our country because we have been too silent. They have looted our resources and they are planning to sell us into slavery to the rest of the world. Today, our geographical landscape is dotted with mass graves of our compatriots because we cowardly endured the several potopoto governments that rigged and continue to rig their ways into office. Nigeria is currently the only country in the world where that will witness the highest number of deaths with a former army general in office when we are not even fighting external war. A president that has never attended the burial ceremony of massacred Nigerians cannot promise you a secure tomorrow. They have breached our constitutional rights to receive welfare and security, which is the primary aim of government. Since they refuse to care for us, we must begin to care for ourselves henceforth. Buhari is in office, but he is not in power. Fellow Nigerians, I am not an orator, neither am I the son of an orator. Many of you know much more than I do. But you know that everything I have been telling you is nothing but the truth, the old truth. And you know this for yourself. Can we continue like this as a country? In your heart of hearts, I know that the answer is no. I know that the answer is no. But I have decided as an individual, me and my friends and Nigerians living abroad, we know that what is happening in our Nigeria now is opposite of what is happening in developed countries. That is why we are angry. But if you are living in Nigeria and you have decided to condition yourself to hardship on your behalf, we say God forbid. Therefore, you must rise up and join us to say no, because something revolutionary is about to happen in Nigeria. It is legal and it is safe, and we must do it for the sake of our destiny and the destiny of our children. You have prayed long enough. The Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither is ear heavy that it cannot hear. Dear compatriots, the good news is that the Global Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, GCSDN, currently established by Nigerians in 35 countries with roots in all the states in Nigeria, will blow the whistle on Sunday, on Tuesday 16th April 2019. Remember that date and tune into this channel. 16th April 2019. We are going to blow the whistle because it is our turn as Nigerians, home and abroad, to finally shout no. Algerians recently shouted no with one strong voice, and their president was forced to resign. Our destiny is in our hands. Algerians will not do it for us. Free yourselves from mental slavery and man's inhumanity to man. Nigeria cannot be free if we refuse to free ourselves. We must decolonize our minds and push today's rulers behind us. We have complained and watched videos enough. We have complained on WhatsApp and Facebook enough. The time is very ripe for us to physically enter into the national arena for national reconstruction. Nigeria must be free. We must get on our marks today. We must get set and we must get ready to go. Watch out for Tuesday, 16th April 2019. Nigeria cannot break. Our leaders must break for us to be free.